It's...
At a Cancun resort, four pals hang out together by the pool. Amy and Stacy, best friends, are on vacation with their boyfriends, Jeff and Eric. Amy loses an earring, but luckily, Matthias finds it in the pool and gives it back. Grateful, they invite him for a drink, and Matthias, along with his friend Dimitri, invites them to join a visit to an ancient ruin where his brother and his girlfriend are digging. The next morning, when Matthias' brother's supposed to pick them up for the dig don't arrive, the group struggles to find a taxi. Eventually, they hire a local truck driver to take them there. Upon reaching the jungle's edge, they spot the brothers' abandoned truck on a dirt road. Despite Matthias' confusion, they press on to find the ruins themselves. After navigating through the jungle, they stumble upon a clearing revealing a towering ancient ruin. Captivated by the hidden marvel, their awe is interrupted by the sudden noise of approaching horses and shouting men from behind. The group whirls around in shock, attempting to understand their apparent mistake. Suddenly, men brandishing bows and arrows emerge from the jungle, led by an older man wielding a silver revolver, glaring at them. Unaware of the imminent danger, Amy stands behind, capturing the scene with her camera. The situation escalates rapidly when Dimitri tries to offer the camera as a gesture of apology. He's struck by an arrow in the chest and then fatally shot in the face. Horrified, the friends retreat up the ruins, perplexed as the men don't pursue them but remain in the clearing, neither advancing nor leaving. At the summit, Matthias frantically searches the tents for his missing brother and the girl, but they're nowhere to be found. The group attempts to use their phones, but can't establish a signal. From the depths of a deep shaft at the summit's center, a faint cell phone ring echoes. Desperate for a connection, Matthias secures a rope around himself while the others slowly lower him into the shaft using an overhead crane. Progress is sluggish until, unexpectedly, the rope snaps, sending Matthias plummeting to the bottom. As the boys work on repairing the rope, Stacy bravely volunteers to descend into the shaft after Matthias and the phone. Slowly lowered down, she realizes the rope isn't quite long enough. Taking a risky move, she unfastens herself from the line, landing on a lantern and injuring her knee. Despite the pain, she hobbles towards Matthias, who confesses his fear and an inability to feel his legs due to a broke of action. In a moment of frustration, Amy storms down the ruined steps to confront their captors. Reaching the bottom, she implores them for help, but their shouted response is in an unfamiliar language. Jeff rushes in to pull her away from the men, but consumed by frustration and anger, Amy tears a chunk of vines from the ruins and hurls it at the menacing men. The vine strikes a small boy, causing no harm but drawing the captor's attention towards him. They angrily gesture toward the ruins, directing their rage at the boy. Despite his protests and refusal to comply, they shoot him, leaving his mother distraught and helpless as she watches the tragedy unfold. The couple, confused and shaken, returns to the summit to share what they witnessed with Eric. The boys fashion a makeshift backboard to transport Matthias. Amy is then lowered into the shaft, and together with Stacy, they struggle to place Matthias on the improvised stretcher. Once everyone is hoisted to the surface, Jeff, a pre-med student, examines Matthias's injuries while they engage in a heated debate about their next course of action. Struggling to make sense of the situation, they decide to rest in the tent, hoping for rescue. However, the morning brings a horrific awakening as Stacy screams in terror. A vine from the ruins has grown into the deep cut on her knee. Eric rushes to remove it, extracting a foot of greenery from her leg. Alarmed, they call for Jeff's expertise while Amy tends to Matthias. Sweat-drenched and looking pale, Matthias requests Amy to uncover him, sensing something amiss with his legs. As the blanket is removed, they're horrified to find an extensive network of vines covering his lower body. Attempting to remove them reveals severe injury and cuts on his skin. Intrigued by the ringing cell phone from the shaft, Stacy and Amy descend once more armed with makeshift torches, exploring the vine-covered interior. As they cautiously navigate a corridor, the phone's high-pitched ring echoes again. They spot a woman with her back against the wall. When they try to rouse her, her body topples, startling the friends into screams. Regaining composure, they press on. Amy's attention fixates on a red flower amid the vines. Drawing closer, she notices an unusual vibration within its petals. The flowers, it turns out, mimic the sound of a cell phone by vibrating their stamens. Enthralled, she reaches out to touch one, causing the vines to react aggressively. In a panic, the girls sprint to escape the encroaching vines, narrowly avoiding their grasp as they are pulled out of the shaft just in time. The next morning, Jeff examines Matthias's injuries and declares that immediate leg amputation is crucial for his survival, as help might not arrive in time. Despite Eric's objections, they attempt to decide by vote, yet they can't reach a unanimous conclusion. In a poignant moment, Matthias, weak and in distress, expresses his willingness for the procedure. The girls retreat to the tent as Jeff heats a cast iron pan in the fire. With Eric's assistance, Jeff performs the amputation using a hunting knife, followed by cauterization with the hot pan. Stacy and Amy huddle together, covering their ears, trying to block out the agonizing screams during the gut-wrenching process. It's a chilling moment when they emerge to witness the vines reclaiming the flesh removed from Matthias. The carnivorous nature of the vines becomes disturbingly evident as they wait for the group's demise. As another day passes, Stacy and Amy attempt to find some rest in one of the tents while Eric keeps watch outside. Amy, unable to sleep, joins Eric, discussing Stacy's well-being. Overwhelmed, Amy breaks down in tears, leaning into Eric's shoulder for comfort as they sit together. Meanwhile, inside the tent, Stacy awakens to what she interprets as moans and sighs, assuming Eric and Amy are engaging in intimacy. Enraged, she storms out and confronts them, accusing them of being together and insisting she heard them. In the tense confrontation, both Amy and Eric deny any involvement, but Jeff arrives to mediate. Stacy, in a fit of anger, accuses Amy of past infidelity, stunning Jeff. Amidst the heated argument, they inadvertently leave Matthias unattended. Tragically, the vines from the ruins seize the opportunity and claim Matthias's life while the friends are engrossed in their dispute. The following morning, Amy and Jeff sit together, watching the sunrise in a somber silence. Eric emerges from his tent, signaling Jeff to come and see Stacy, sensing that something is seriously amiss. Inside the tent, Eric urges Stacy to reveal her back. As she lifts her shirt, a dark green patch with a vine-like entity slithering beneath her skin comes into view. Determined to save her, they agree to attempt removing it. Outside, amidst Stacy's cries, Jeff performs a harrowing procedure. With precision, he cuts a sizable gash near her knee, seizing hold of the vine attempting to embed deeper into her leg. Amy holds Stacy tightly as she screams in unbearable pain. Despite Stacy's agonized cries, she insists they continue. Rolling her onto her back, Jeff makes a larger incision, extracting foot after foot of the invasive vine from her back. Once removed, they do their best to dress and bandage her wounds, offering what aid they can. As they sit on the ground, consuming the last remnants of their food, Stacy grows increasingly distressed, insisting she can feel another vine inside her, even by her bones. Stacy insists they cut again. Jeff refuses, citing the risk of further blood loss, declaring they can't afford any more cutting. Eric tries to reassure her, suggesting it's a psychological effect, but Stacy claims she can sense them in her head too. The others attempt to reason with her, assuring there's nothing more inside her body. In an attempt to distract her, Amy offers Stacy a sip from the bottle of tequila they found. As Stacy drinks, a glimpse of the squirming vine appears on her brow. Shocked, the three friends exchange wide-eyed glances, quickly averting their eyes to shield her from their reactions. Their silence speaks volumes as Stacy cries in distress. Stacy, driven beyond reason by the torment, ventures out of the tent and searches for the hunting knife. When the others follow her outside, they find Stacy amidst a pool of her own blood, attempting to remove the intrusive vines by cutting herself. Despite their pleas for her to stop, she's beyond reasoning. When Jeff tries to intervene, Stacy accidentally wounds him in the struggle. As Eric attempts to communicate with her, Stacy turns and inflicts a fatal blow, plunging the knife into his chest. Eric collapses, succumbing to the injury, and the vines converge to claim their prize. Overwhelmed by pain and the realization of her actions, Stacy pleads with Amy to end her suffering. As she begs, small vines emerge from her wounds, a grotesque testament to the invasive growth. Amy, torn by the heart-wrenching situation, looks to Jeff for guidance. With solemn determination, Jeff quietly approaches Eric's body and mercifully ends Stacy's agony. It's a devastating and tragic end to their ordeal. Jeff, in a desperate bid to save Amy, stages a diversion by smearing blood on her to feign death. He then carries her down the steps and lays her on the ground, confronting the men and launching into a passionate speech about the lives lost under their watch. As Jeff distracts the men, Amy seizes the moment, suddenly rising and sprinting towards the abandoned Jeep they discovered earlier. Despite Jeff's valiant efforts, he becomes the target of the men's arrows and ultimately falls to a fatal bullet. Amy, now the sole survivor, races towards the Jeep while being pursued by the men. In a miraculous feat, she reaches the vehicle and speeds away, hurtling down the road into an uncertain future. The next day, Dimitri's two missing friends arrive at the clearing, calling out in search of their vanished companion, unaware of the tragic events that transpired. And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.